Mariana ma'am and Ruben sir. Welcome to our fourth webinar session. And today we someone is saying that my voice is not audible.
Yes,
Is
yes.
it
No.
no
Already
my
audio.
audible? Okay,
Yes,
then no
madam.
problem. Okay. But today Mariana ma'am and Ruben sir are in hurry and they want to go with our webinar session, fourth webinar session regarding data analysis. So them to present their topic. Hello, Mariana ma'am and Ruben sir.
Hello, everyone. Good morning in Argentina. Good afternoon, evening in India. Namaste.
Yes.
And thank you again for this invitation to participate in your webinar. I think my partner Ruben is connecting. Yes, I can see that in my screen. Dear Mahusha and Suchita, shall we start? Oh, here he is. Very good. Very good. Here he is.
Good morning. Hola.
I love your Spanish.
Okay. And Buenos dias. Something like that. I don't know. Good morning. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Over to you, Mariana ma'am now.
Okay. Good morning, Ruben. Well, this exchange of Spanish and Indian words this is lovely. Okay. Today I will try and share my screen. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, there we are. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so as Manhusha and Suchita said, we will be talking about how we mentors can support teachers to analyze and interpret data. Sometimes this part of the research process, that is collecting the data, analyzing the data, interpreting the data, may seem a bit difficult for teacher researchers, and they may feel not confident enough. In teacher research, remember that it is essential, okay, to bear in mind that the focus is on understanding and maybe changing, yes, a particular aspect or a problematic situation or any issue you have chosen, all right, in your classroom, yes, and it is not related to achieving universally relevant findings. Yes, so the role of the mentor's role is essential, okay, in supporting, in guiding the teachers on the kind of data they have to collect, on how much, okay, on whether qualitative analysis or quantitative analysis will benefit them and how to do all that. It may be useful to organize a workshop or a meeting, yes, where you can give the teachers explanations, clear examples, and during which you can provide practice, yes, so they can analyze the data, they can interpret the data, they can also take their own examples, to the meeting, to the workshop, and you can analyze them together. Okay, so let's think about quantitative data as numbers and qualitative data as has words. Yes, words which have to do with reflections, which have to do with observations, with perceptions, yes, etc. Okay, so I think it is useful and it is of utmost importance to introduce your teachers, okay, as regards the value that a qualitative analysis may give you, may bring to your research, and how much you may learn from that. Yes, let's think about a teacher who wants to encourage her students, his or her students, to read for pleasure. Yes, I prepared this example after having been working in Paris with Mahyusha, because I remember what she told me about the reading club, the online reading club. So that's why I prepared this example. So this teacher wants to encourage her students or his students to read for pleasure. Right. I wrote a question there. Will it be more useful for her to give students a list of topics and ask them, yes, to rank them in order of preference? Or B, get students to work in groups to share their preferences as regards the topics, and then maybe to prepare a poster on cardboard or by means of a technological tool, and share, after sharing all those topics and preparing the poster, invite them to show that final outcome to the rest of the class. So here we have these two possibilities. Maybe, Ruben, if you can help me, I will invite our participants today to choose, yes, which option they consider the most appropriate. A, giving them a list, or B, asking students, inviting students to work in groups, share their preferences, preparing a poster, and showing it to the rest of the class. Could you tell me about what the participants write in the chat box? Can you participants write A or B according to your opinion? Let's see. What do you think? How do you think they can how do you think this teacher, yeah, will benefit more? Yes. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right. Excellent. Very good. Very good. It's B. All right. Thank you, participants. Okay, it's B. Excellent. All right. So, in this case, okay, if the teacher, in the case of A, if the teacher writes or gives her students or his students a list, she may forget to include some topics, you know, so she may not learn about very useful information for her research or his research study. In the case of a qualitative, you know, approach, yes, in the case of B, the one you chose, okay, she will be getting more information, even reasons for choosing some topics and not others, yes, and additional information which she may have not thought of. Yes, so excellent job. Okay, let's see if we can see the following slide. Excellent job. All right. Okay. Okay, while we are waiting for the following slide, I will be talking a little bit about coding and categorizing qualitative data. Yes? Okay. I will stop sharing this for a minute. Okay. And let's see if I can share it again. And if you can see my screen again. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Okay, so in this case, I will be talking about deductive analysis and inductive analysis. It is important that you clarify these two concepts, okay, to your teachers. Again, it's important that you demystify this aspect of research, this about coding and categorizing the qualitative data. As regards deductive analysis, we think about a top-down, yes, qualitative analysis. The categories, okay, are there. They have already been selected, okay? They are predetermined. And in the case of the inductive analysis, the categories emerge. Yes, that's why it's bottom up. They emerge from the data. Yes, have a look at this. In this case, let's think about a teacher whose research question has to do with learning about his or her students' concentration in class. So if you can have a look at my screen, you will realize, okay, that she has written down, okay, some of her or his students' statements, all right? So a first step could be to read the statement. For example, the first, it is difficult to concentrate when the teacher talks for too long. So it is important to read it, to think about each statement, and to write down, yes, a code, a keyword, or a set of words which summarize that idea. In this case, for example, teacher lecturing, or maybe teacher talking too long, or teacher talking too much, okay? You will decide. And then you continue with the following statements. For example, another student says, I lose concentration when other students misbehave. Again, think about the idea and choose a keyword, yes, or a set of words that summarize that statement. For example, other students' behavior. Yes. And then another student says, I get sleepy, yes, in the afternoon. So maybe the keyword is afternoon. And you go ahead in that way and you check, okay, if those ideas are repeated. If they are repeated, you write the same keywords next to each statement, to the following statements. For example, have a look at the fourth. If my teacher doesn't let us questions, I can't concentrate. So see that we can see, okay, that the idea here is similar to the idea in the first, statement. So we write the same keyword, yes, or set of words. Then after lunch, my brain feels quite slow. We repeat afternoon. Other students talking too much makes me distracted. Okay, again, we are talking about other students' behavior. Yes, alternatively, or as an alternative, what you can do is the following. Think about your research question and then analyze those statements and think about the reasons. Which are the reasons, that is, the themes in this case, why these students cannot concentrate in class? Okay, so as you can see on the screen, here you have when the teacher talks too much, when other students misbehave, and in the afternoon. And what you can do, or what the teachers can do, is to write, the letters which have to do, okay, with those three big themes. So um, I think that it is useful, it is helpful, okay, to have meetings with your teacher researchers so they can understand the importance, okay, of getting qualitative data and how much they can gain, okay, from that data after interpreting it, after analyzing it. Yes, there are many examples in the mentoring handbook and in the handbook for exploratory action research. And remember that there's a key too, so you can complete the exercises and compare your answers with the key. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attention. And now, Ruben, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mariana. Thank you. Well, I will
Welcome.
continue. Mariana was referring to qualitative data and this idea of coding, of selecting words, certain phrases that are recurrent in the analysis. So, but there is another possibility that is what is known as quantitative data that has to do mainly with numbers, right? Yes, mainly represented in the form of numbers and percentages. Generally, when we want to get this type of information, yes, I mean quantity, yes, rather than quality, in the sense of numbers, probably the questions we may ask to get those answers are basically yes or no questions, yes, or questions with how much, how many, right, how long, when. So you see that if we ask in any context or about any topic these type of questions, then the answers will be numbers, yes, how many, I don't know, 10 students, or for how long, 10 minutes, yes, group work, for example, yeah. But one word of warning relating quantitative data, because generally, especially in this area, in this approach of exploratory action research, we may think of quantitative data as something complex or doing a lot of analysis and analyzing and making calculations, etc. But in fact, there are a lot, if we go to formal research, there are a lot of tests for quantitative data, but this is not our case. Our case is to get information and to analyze it in the simplest way possible, right? So when mentoring teachers, we should make this very clear that they should not, get absorbed, let's say, by the numbers, but on the contrary, that numbers, that this type of data should help them to identify, to analyze, yes, to relate them with their research question, right? Um, because if not, if the numbers are just numbers, so it's not very useful. So there should be a relationship with the research question, and it should be simple enough for teachers to understand that information and not again get tangled, let's say, in the information they have, right? Next slide, please, Mariana. Thank you. So how can we organize this type of quantitative data, these numbers, if you want? There are different possibilities, and this is very useful because we need to organize the numbers we get, the answers we get. One is this is from Richard Smith and Paula Rebolledo's handbook on exploratory action research, is to use this type of tables, yes, where there are, you have the questions and then you sort of tabulate in different columns the categories you want to focus on. and the numbers, yes? So you say, for example, in number 1, what do you think about the audio topics, yes, in our classes? And the possibilities are very interesting, well, etc. And then students select, yes, out of these choices, and then you calculate the number. So 26 students think they are very interesting, 28 students think audio topics are interesting, etc. Yes, so this is one suggestion for organizing information. Another one in the following slide, please, is what is known as bar charts. Yes, again, this is another way to organize different possibilities. That depends on how is more suitable, which one is more suitable for teachers. Yes, depending on the style for analysis, but this could be another possibility. So the same question, what do you think about the audio topics, but presented in a different way. This is also very visual, yes, because you have the different colors and the different levels of the bars, right? And another one is the line charts, okay? Again, so probably here on the vertical column, you can see the number of students, and on the horizontal line, the different categories. Yes, the teacher was interested in getting information about. So again, this is also very visual way. And another one is the pie chart. Yes, again, this is also for representing. If you use, for example, if you do this type of questions in a Google form, yes, then Google Forms gives you the possibility of organizing the information in different formats, in Excels, in or for example in pie charts as well. So that's very useful because it's less time consuming that if you do it on your own. Yes, so it's just the application, the resource that does this. Yes, so that's very useful. Okay, and well, next slide, please, Mariana. So what is the mentor's roles in helping teachers then to analyze and interpret data, right? Both qualitative and quantitative. Basically, it has to do with answering these questions. Yes. So what do you think the findings mean? Because the process is, well, first you frame your research question, then you decide how you are going to explore and take action. Then you get the data, yes, with different instruments, and then you analyze the data. And the following stage is to get the findings, yes, and to say, well, what shall I do with these findings, right? So this is one of the questions we have to ask ourselves, yes, what do the findings mean? What do they represent? And how are they related to my research question as well? Another question is, so what do you learn from the findings overall, which is similar? Well, the other one that has to do with research questions and how can you answer them in a sentence or two, yes, trying to summarize the idea. And also, this is interesting, have you any findings particularly surprise you, right? Because this happens generally in most research when we make hypotheses about our objective and what we expect from our research. And then probably there are some results that are expected results, but then there are some others that came up unexpectedly, right? So this is very interesting as well, and see why this particular finding or findings surprised me, and in what way, right? And the other one is, well, what's next? Yes, what shall we do next, right? In relation to all this information we have, all right, all the findings and the data, either qualitative or quantitative, or many times, many cases, researchers use both, a combination of both, what is generally known as mixed method. Yes, that is part is qualitative and part is quantitative. Yes, in my opinion, I don't think that it is one or the other, but generally they not they overlap, but they coexist. Let's say yes in our work, right? And then Mariana, please. In relation to the research process, it has, I think that well, you are all experiencing this in relation to this process of both mentoring and being mentees in this process of researching or teacher researching. It has to do with teacher learning, yeah? So how will I develop as a result of carrying out teacher research? So I think this is a key question, yes, because the teacher research has to do with professional development as well, and working together as a community of practice. So the idea is, well, answering the question, what's next? Yes, what shall I do next in relation to this research and to my professional development? And it has to do with, well, with your mindset in relation to what you want to continue exploring. Yes, mindset in the sense of being predisposed to having the predisposition to continue exploring. Yes, in relation to your research topic or maybe other topics that are related to your topic that you were researching, right? So I think that this is part of the process as well, getting data, analyzing it, getting the findings, and also considering how the findings are relevant for both, for my research question and for my students' learning, and also for my professional development, yes? So I conclude here my part. Okay, so thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Ruben sir, for focusing on data collection. Thank you, Mariana ma'am, telling us about qualitative data. So over to Suchita ma'am now. Suchita ma'am, hello.
Yes, yes, Manjusha ma'am.
Shall we start our reflection session from our
Okay,
participant?
okay. Before that, let me have a word with Ruben sir and Mariana ma'am. It was a fantastic session. I enjoyed it most, and yes, I was like at the last. I was at like looking at the clock over here. It says it's 8 minutes. So it was a wonderful session. But before going for the next session, as Manjusha ma'am is announcing or suggesting, can we have some QA if there are some participants queries about this session? And like for 8 minutes, can we discuss if there are any challenges by the teacher participants? Is it okay, Manjusha ma'am, Ruben sir, Mariana ma'am?
Yes, of course.
If anyone has any queries regarding this session, they can interact with Mariana ma'am and Ruben sir now. Yes.
Yes.
Mehusha and Suchita, may I ask a question to the participants?
Please,
Yes,
why
yes,
not?
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I would like to know if you have, you as mentors, if you have already been talking to your teacher researchers about this, which has to, what we have been saying with Ruben about analyzing the data, collecting the data, analyzing, interpreting the data. Have you already been talking or meeting your teachers? And have they asked you questions? Which questions have they asked you? Which has what about their feelings, perceptions? Or if you haven't, are you thinking of meeting your teacher researchers to talk about this and offer practice? Thank you.
Okay, Sandeep sir, Sudhakar sir, would you like to address this question?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, Sandeep sir.
Sandeep.
Go
Hello,
ahead.
Am I
Sandeep.
audible, ma'am?
No, sir, you are not.
Hello, Ruben and Mariana, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead. Be quick. We have only 6 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone. Let's jump on a
Thank you.
question. Like as Mariana, ma'am said that whether have you discussed with your teacher researchers? So let me tell you, like teachers are so curious and they had done, such kind of, action researches as a part of their professional programs, but it was like not like the manner in which we are going to carry. So they are having actually they have some idea about the this analysis and interpretation, but they are not aware exactly how is it done. So I would like to ask you the question which has been raised by my one of the teacher researchers, like coding. When we are coding, that means when we are wording the statements, so sometimes it's very challenging. Like it's very subjective. You'll find that everyone expresses in his or her own way. All the students, those who are actually part of the research, so at that time they express freely. These all are open-ended questions. So at that time, what do you think? What care should be taken for coding? So is there any quick rule, or are there any such kind of steps which can be followed while analyzing such subjective responses? Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to answer, Mariana?
Okay, yes.
Yes. Sandeep, that what you mentioned is very, very relevant. Yes, because coding, because it's qualitative data. Yes, if it is numbers, it's easier because you say, well, how many students respond is interesting, and you say 10 students, 20 students. That's simpler. But with coding, because it's qualitative data, this question of being subjective is part of qualitative data, I think. Yes.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
maybe yes. Generally, when we have all the information, probably we start reading the information and coding. But many times it happens that is subjective because we want to see in the data all the aspects that are related to our research question or our interest. Yes, so that's true. That happens. An exercise could be like an activity is to get the same information, the same data, and that the data is coded by 2 or 3 different teachers separately, and to compare the results. So do all the teachers have coded in the same way? So that would be interesting to compare. But but generally, yes, if you have certain codes, then also you have to place the categories, the labels, let's say, the words, yeah, the keywords in those codes, in those categories. So that would be a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Because the other way is more subjective, as you mentioned, is that you have the data and you don't start analyzing it with codes in mind, pre-established codes, but codes come up naturally, let's say, while you are analyzing the data. Yes. So, but maybe this activity of getting the same data and being coded by different teachers separately and then getting together to see what happens with the
Yes.
results could be an interesting activity. I don't know if this if this is answering the question, Sandeep.
Great, great, fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep, for your interesting question, and thank you, Ruben, for your reply. Yes, I completely agree with Ruben. That's an excellent exercise. I think you can try. Your teacher researchers can try, and sometimes it may be at the very beginning a bit difficult or a bit daunting. Oh my God, so much information. But then little by little, after reading carefully, okay, codes start to appear, then themes, big themes, yes, and this thing of talking to, as Ruben said, other teachers who are doing the same task and exchanging your ideas is so enriching. Yes, so try it and tell us next time. Yes, or ask your teacher researchers to do it and tell us about the results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. The exercise which has been suggested by Ruben sir, and the approach to the we can say that subjective information which has been discussed by you, just to allow to that sync that all the subjective information deep down in your mind. So that is really definitely I will try it out and let you know what happens next. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I need a help. The meeting is recurring, but I don't know what to do exactly because this time less than 1 minute. So shall I ask the participants to use the same link and password?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
Suchita, yes.
Yes.
The same
okay.
link. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we will be meeting again in few seconds.
Okay. Mm.
Please सगळ्यांनी याच लिंकला जॉईन करा. Same password and same link.